Evening. Welcome to another broadcast, a live broadcast. My name is Edward A. Gray. I'm running as a writing candidate for United States Senate. My hope is my my job will be to replace Marco Rubio. I believe that Val Demings will be the candidate from the Democrats to try and replace Marco Rubio, and I believe that I can easily defeat her. With all due respect, some of the opinions and some of the directions she's voted on don't currently work for me as an American. The same with Rubio, although he stood up for a couple of things. But, anyways, good evening. This episode this evening was going to be a discussion on our tax system. We are at the point now, and depending on which state you live in, also, it makes a major difference. But we're at the point now that um, people see the taxation of what we're going through to be horrible for the United States. We are paying more in our taxes than ever before, and they're taxing everything that can be taxed. Even if you die, they tax you for dying. So I've been doing some research. Let me make it perfectly clear. I am no expert by any means as far as the tax codes and the taxes, and I mean, I'm just like everybody else. There comes a certain time of year where we all sit down and sweat it out trying to fill out all the forms necessary. I own a small business, so I have separate forms that I have to fill out besides what the individual forms that you have to fill out. And if you're married, you have a separate form that you have to fill out too. If you were single, if you have kids, cars, houses, it just it seems like very intrusive government wanting to know anything and everything about us, and that to me is not what our government is supposed to be doing. Um, but I understand for the government, for the states to be able to survive, they have to maintain a certain amount of taxation so that they can keep doing what they're supposed to be doing, which that's a whole nother topic when you get down to it. So let me start with this. Let's see. So what's the difference between, now this is from, now let me do the Forbes one. Our current tax versus the flat tax versus the fair tax. It differs both from the progressive income tax system and the flat tax in a very dramatic way. It is not a tax on income. The fair tax will replace all incomes as well as payroll. So when we break it down, this was, where was that one that I was looking for? All right, so the fair tax is often compared to the flat tax since both are ostensibly plans that are based on a fixed number. The flat tax plans has these days quite a bit have been said about the fair tax, likely because it has been widely touted by a number of presidential candidates, including Mike Huckabee. Um, we are looking at fair tax as revenue neutral with the current IRS code. It eliminates all federal taxes on income tax, Social Security tax. So this is fair from fairtax.org, which of course they're going to tout themselves as being the right one. So all right, so the fair tax is a revenue neutral with the current IRS code. It eliminates all federal taxes on income tax, Social Security tax, Medicare tax, self-employment tax, capital gains tax, corporate and business taxes, dividends, interests, alternatives, minimum tax, death tax, and gift tax. Flat tax is not revenue neutral, and it keeps flat tax is not revenue neutral, and it keeps the IRS and all federal taxes on income. When all federal taxes on income are removed, that also eliminates the 23% embedded tax present in all new goods and services. Fair tax simply replaces the embedded federal taxes with a one-time only 23% inclusive national sales tax on all goods and services at the retail level. Used items have no federal sales tax. Price remains the same, and we only pay taxes when we buy things. Flat tax retains all embedded taxes. Prices remain the same, and we continue paying on all federal income taxes. So the debate is out there as far as the taxation of this country and the people of this country, the citizens of this country is concerned. My thought was to bring to people's attention that do I look? Yeah, okay. That there is a better way for our system. I can't help but say that in my opinion, the IRS is not operating in a way that would be beneficial for Americans as much as it operates in a way that it's beneficial for the government. And we could say that probably about quite a few different government agencies. The VA, I keep bringing up the VA because even after all of the things that have been put in to change the VA, we still are having major problems with how the VA maintains and takes care of our soldiers. So, but I digress. The topic itself, fair tax or flat tax. The fair tax has its pluses, of course, just as the flat tax does. If we were to say everybody pay 10%, now they're recommending 17%, but I think that's a bit high. I would think more in the 10% range. But if we were paying 10% on a flat tax across the board, no matter how much you make, I think anybody under 50,000 nowadays probably should be exempt from having to pay any taxes. But with this fair tax 10% across the board, then whether you're making above 50,000 or you're making $1 million a year, everybody pays the same amount, 10% of what your income is. That's a one-time, once a year type thing. But on the other side of that, we're still keeping taxes on purchases, taxes on foods, taxes on all types of things that doesn't really change. It just makes the code easier. Whereas on the other side of that coin, the fair tax eliminates just about everything. And it just says, okay, there's going to be a one-time taxation. There's not even going to be an IRS anymore. There would still have to be somewhat of an IRS, but the idea would be everybody would report and pay a one-time fee of whatever the amount was. I think they're touting 23 cents on a dollar type deal. So that's the difference in the sense that one kind of pushes in eliminating the government, and the other says, well, it's not eliminating the government, but it's streamlining the government to make it work more functionally. Excuse me. Which way to go? That's the question. That's the question I don't have the answer for, but I was hoping with this open discussion that people would come in and bring their point of view. Now, I have had a couple of people comment on it on my Facebook site and on my other site, but my website, but I'm not getting any real major response from people as far as, and I can understand this is probably not one of the top priority. Heck, we were wondering if we were going to see World War III start if Pelosi's plane did get shot down. So I know this isn't a priority, but it's still something that's important, and that's why I'm bringing it to light, because one of the things that I would like to work on when I get to Washington will be reviewing our tax plan and seeing if there was a better way for Americans to feel more confident about paying taxes, which, regardless of what anybody thinks, that's an inevitability. We have to pay some sort of taxes if we want to keep our roads and our bridges, if we want to keep our police, if we want to keep our fire departments and EMTs, and there's got to be a basic amount that we provide to the state and to the government. Now, I'm not an expert on this, and let me keep making that perfectly clear. I'm not an expert. All I'm trying to do is find consensus of what the people believe we should be doing when it comes to the taxation of America, and what would be something that would be equitable to everybody. Certainly, a lot of people say that our government's bloated, which I would agree with, and we could streamline many things, which many presidents have tried to do. I think Trump was really pushing hard to try and streamline our government. These are important things, but when it comes down to it, how is it all paid for? And that's through the taxation of American citizens, or companies, and which are still American citizens. I mean, you get your payroll taxes, and the company itself has its taxes that it has to pay. I think also the important thing is people being honest. We have a tendency to feel like we're being taken advantage of, so therefore we're not going to report everything because the government will never really know, and that's fine. The government really shouldn't have to be so into our business that they have to know everything we do. Um, I think that we just need to consider other possibilities and look at which way would be best serving American people and still keeping our state and our federal governments, although they should be streamlined, they should be cut back in many, many ways. I think something that always got me when I went to school, and I'm going to use this as an example. So, when I went to school, we had a principal, we had an assistant principal, and then down the line, and that was the hierarchy of how the high school system went, and middle school and elementary. Now, when our latest son, before he finally graduated out of school, when I went there, we had the principal and the vice principal, but we also had superintendents and assistant superintendents, and then there were just those types of things. To me, are what has put this country in this bind of finances, and why we're looking at oh my God, so many taxes on so many things at such a higher rate. And I know we run gas taxes, and other states run major additions to gas taxes along with other taxes. The intent of America was never to be run by government. It was always intended to be run by the people. And this is where I think our great division has come into play, is as we have the people in government who all believe that they know what's best for us, and they're going to tell us what's best for us, and they're going to make us believe that this is the way we need to go. And that's not, in my opinion, America. America is supposed to be, what this country is. I know many people are like, apparently something came in and it blocked it for a second. Sorry about that. Many people are like, oh, this government has gotten out of control. The people that are in charge don't really know what we're talking about. And I would have to agree. That goes back to my thought and my push for term limits as being one of the major things. Another thing would be people like myself. Never run for office before. I know running for the United States Senate to some seem like, wow, that's a very lofty goal. But if you look at what a senator does, it's just amazing that they sit on committees. They look at what Congress is trying to pass. They either approve or deny it and send it back to Congress. And they listen to their constituents. It's not really some major entailing job, but that's where I would differ. I would go up there and make it more than just sitting there waiting for something to come across my desk. I see a lot of things out there that regular Americans need a voice up in Washington saying, "Hey, you're not listening to us." And this is Republican, Democrat, liberal, whatever. Excuse me. Um, we need regular Americans that have worked those 9 to 5 jobs. And 9 to 5 is just a term, but you know what I mean. You work 40 hours a week. You live paycheck to paycheck. You barely have anything in savings. You're hoping your car and your water heater and your air conditioner or your whatever don't break down, and you push to show the kids that everything's going to be okay, that working hard is the right way to go, and you pray that, you know, tomorrow's a better day. And each day we progress and we make the next step to finally getting to the point that we'd like to be able to retire. And I think all of these things are addressed in so many ways by having the right people in office that represent us as the regular Americans, and not some type of an elite stature that no longer can communicate or understand, you know, what it's like to sleep in your car, to go without, to have to use hand-me-downs, or um, that there just seems to be. I think there's a couple of them. What was her name? Lauren Boebert, I think her name was. She came from a very rough life in that respect, so she has that type of a thing, and that's definitely what I would do. Is I would reach out to people up on the hill like her and others that have shown that they're more interested in producing um, results for Americans than they are in producing results for a government. Um, my opinion has always been our biggest problem is the two-party system, and I really believe that it causes the division in itself. Um, if you're with one side, then the other side fights everything you do, and vice versa. Whomever's in charge at the time, whether it's a Republican or Democrat on the Hill, the other side is constantly fighting at everything. The idea is we are all Americans, whether you're left, right, up, down, pronoun or pronounless, none of that matters. We're all Americans. We all want the same thing. We want our country to be the shining light for the entire world, which it is in so many ways. The opportunities, the abilities, the progress, they all come from people believing in ourselves and believing in our country. So I again, I'm no expert on the tax system. I've done some studying, and I probably will do a lot more on it. But that was basically the idea of this discussion this evening, was the taxation of America, and can it be changed, and what would be the best way to change it. Um, I know I've probably rattled on about other things, but you've heard my breakdowns of what I think between the fair and the flat tax are. I'm still not convinced either one is the perfect way. Um, is there a perfect way? I think there's a perfect way for all kinds of things, and I think a lot of it goes back to common sense, which we definitely lack up in DC. So that's where I would like to be the voice for the people, is in DC. That's why I'm running. Um, Again, my name is Edward A. Gray. I am a write-in candidate for United States Senate. I will defeat Marco Rubio and replace him, and I will defeat Val Demings. But I need your help to do all of that. You can go to my website, which is theamericanpatriotmovement.com, and in there it breaks down where my stance is on many issues. There's also at the bottom the ability to donate. We're always asking for donations. Apparently that's the big thing with politics. If you want to get out there and advertise, etc., is you got to donate or get donations. So the AmericanPatriotMovement.com, that's the website, all one word, the American Patriot Movement. You can email me at edwardforsenate@yahoo.com. I also have a Facebook page, which is Edward A. Gray for United States Senate. You can find me on many of the social platforms. I'm always throwing out ideas and making suggestions or working on topics that I see out there, and I look forward to going around the state and meeting people and talking with them to see where their mindset is on what are the important things for this country to regular Americans. Sending $40 billion to Ukraine, to me, especially where we're at in this country, and this is what, the third time they've done it, and now we've got this new one coming up where, anyways, those types of things I don't think regular Americans agree with, and I think that we need to have a voice in Washington that speaks for regular Americans. So I'm going to end this broadcast here. I really do thank you for coming in and listening to me talk about these things. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if there's a specific topic you'd like to do, I try to do these. I will be doing these every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I do it outside here in my backyard. I love having my flag and my cats and birds and everybody around. So thank you. And y'all have a good evening.